pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for coming tonight. Just to let everybody know out there in Facebook land or whatever, we have a camera issue, so we're using the camera off of a laptop to do it tonight, so it may not be as clear as what everybody's used to, but we are making the attempt. If you could do the roll call, Marla, Sherry.
Mayor Nicholson.
Here.
Vice Mayor Sanger.
Here.
Councilmember Durst.
Here.
Espinoza.
Here.
Martinez.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Wells.
Here.
Okay. We'll start out with citizens' participation, and this is the time for anybody to come forward and speak for 5 minutes on something that is not on the agenda tonight. Is there anybody? Okay, go ahead and come on up.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk. There's a project that came up about a month ago. A company came to town, and their business, it's a family business. Their business is to house wind farm people. They're out of Lyman, Colorado. What they've done is they built an RV park and self-contained, designed for the more professional workers on the wind farms. These guys live in these homes. They go south in them, work on other projects, and it's been a real successful project for them. They see what's happening here in Rawlins, in Carbon County, and it's almost an exact replica of what went on in Lyman, except ours is a lot bigger. They looked for a piece of property that would house their project. They found one. It's zoned right for an RV park. It's got in the city, it has all the utilities, it's platted, subdivided, should be a perfect spot. They went to community development, asked them, what's the regulation, what's it take for us to get this done? They researched it, got into the regulations, and they walked off. Our regulation, and I talk about Title 16, and I can talk a lot about it, but you can read it, it's not that long. But basically, it's worse than doing a subdivision from scratch. And I don't blame them for walking off, but I just didn't think it was right to just go home, shut up, don't say anything about it. We worked so hard at trying to get development in this town, and then when it comes, we have problems like this. And of course, Danielle, to her credit, she reached out. How can I help you? What can we do? We can do variances, we can do a conditional use permit, but it's such a stretch to bring in that ordinance with variances, etc. They chose to walk. And I think Danielle's been in communication with them. I don't know where it's going to go, but I think it's paramount that we know what's going on instead of sitting here wondering why people don't come. We spend so much effort trying to get somebody to come and do something. And then it's not your fault, not my fault, not Danielle's fault. The system we're all involved in drives them away. So what's happened? Sort of a reflection of the subdivision I came here with 2.5 years ago. Simple subdivision, platted stuff. Took 2 years to get through. Of course, we all worked hard. We changed the ordinance, improved it. It's a better ordinance. 2.5 years, though, if anybody wanted that property, they'd be long gone. We're almost done with it. We'll have a final plat up here probably in the next 3 or 4 months. We hit winter, can't do the surveying in the winter, add that to all of our hearings, etc. It's a problem I just wanted to share. I'm not asking you for anything, just making you aware of it.
Thank you. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Jay.
Anybody else would like to come up and speak for citizens' participation? Anya?
Just quick, real 3 things. I sent you emails, got very few responses. One was on the bid that was 3 minutes late. Got 3 answers to that about why it was accepted when legal counsel recommended it not be. One answer was because we can. I don't find that an answer. Just because you can do something doesn't make it right. The other two answers talked about it being made publicly and the timing, which I get. I don't know if you have a sole source. At the refinery, we have a sole source for those things that are emergency, those things that are quick timing, and we can give that contract to somebody. That way you can stay within your legal limits and you can get the project moving when necessary. Might be something to consider. The other question I asked was about the budget. I got one answer on that, that it would be further discussed. I hope it is. I hope some of the questions asked would be the qualifications of the person doing the budget. They have an associate's or a bachelor's in accounting. If not, why? The training that they had on the new program. And why didn't he ask questions of the previous accountant? And going forward, what is your solution? Is the person, if not replaced, going to have more training? Will there be another audit in 6 months to increase the accountability? The third thing I got no answers on, and that was snow removal. We live in Rawlins, in the mountains, 9 months winter, we're going to have lots of snow, and I'm tired of the answer being, well, we just can't afford it. Those roads will never be cleared. So, if that is the case, where is your cost analysis? Prove it. Where is your RFI sent to contractors showing that contractors cost less or more? Where is your consideration of residents handling the snow removal? Where's your procedure? Not a map telling me the first, second, and third roads to be cleared, but procedure. When do you decide to get the roads cleaned? How is that decision made? Where do they start? Where do they end? That's procedure. So I hope those things will be considered, and those of you who didn't answer my emails will. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. Is there anybody else who would like to come up and speak? Okay. We will move on down to item B, 2019 Supervisor of the Year Award.
Honorable Mayor and Council, thank you for allowing me to come tonight to give out a couple of awards, and I'm just going to leave that pin down there since Jay threw it down once. Before I do that, I'd just like to indulge you and recognize some people in talk snow removal for just a minute. I know people may have their varying opinions of our snow removal efforts, but I would like to recognize the people that have been out there every day in adverse conditions in a winter that we haven't seen for a few years. Put in perspective, from December 15th to January 15th, we had over 950 man-hours logged into snow removal efforts. Some of the major storm removal days happened the day after Thanksgiving through the entire Thanksgiving holiday weekend was the first time we got hit pretty good. Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day through the entire weekend. And it's not so much it's the snow, we all battle the wind that redistributes the snow wherever it would like to redo that. One of those examples, I think is a prime example. Our crews were out on New Year's Eve till almost 6, 7 o'clock, and they had 3rd Street cleared to the wall, and it was almost to bare ground. And by 2 o'clock on New Year's Day, when we had that, whatever that was, come in a fast-moving blizzard, we lost a lane of traffic already, and it looked like we hadn't even plowed that thing all winter long. So those are some of the things we've combated. But anyway, it's not about the process. It's not about that here tonight. I just want to recognize these people that have gone out of their way, put the extra hours in over holidays, nights, weekends, putting forth the extra effort. I'd like to recognize the personnel: Leroy Lucero, Danielle Gross, Ariel Phipps, Louis Lascano. The Streets Department: Mike Pacerno, Jody Sandoval, Andy Rodriguez, Dave Manley, Chuck Gemelli, Matt Turner, Braxton Langendorfer, and we just brought in on another seasonal person, Casey Daniels, who started with us, who is a heavy equipment operator out at one of the quarries out north. I got to meet him Friday on his first day when we were trying out our new snow blower at the cemetery, And it was really refreshing talking to Mr. Daniels. He said, you know, I could sit at home on my couch and complain, but I got a lot of free time and a lot of experience, and he come down and saw if he could put his expertise to use. We paid for him out of our seasonal budget, and he'll be helping us remove snow, which was a great asset. Parks Division, John Medina and Tom Bustos, we pulled those guys out with their CDLs. We had them in trucks hauling snow. Utilities Division, we pulled in Mike O'Brien, Ben Gross, Tyrell Perry, Bud Dimmick, Charlie Pettis, Todd Pelham, and Jimmy Martinez, when we've needed those folks to help us, to try to run a couple different shifts, to try to address the areas when we need it. Treatment Division, we even brought in Robert Nully, Jolie Langendorfer, and Stevie Osborne. And the Fire Department, Jeff Walton, our Code Enforcement Officer. Why Code Enforcement's a year-round thing, it gets a little slower dealing with weeds. Jeff showed the desire, so we certified Jeff in the CDL, and he's been driving and helping us remove snow when we're short of drivers or people run out of time, or God forbid somebody wants to take a vacation day and take a break. We can pull people from other departments and keep it going. And even we brought in a person from landfill. We brought in Mike Sanchez to run equipment. We brought in a loader over the holidays when we knew the landfill was going to be closed for a couple days. We robbed some equipment from the landfill and brought that in with some of their personnel. So we've been throwing every piece of equipment and every person that we have at it and accommodating. And last but not least, or well, before that, we even through our finance director to help us clear out some intersections to do that. I offered up my CDL, but Leroy decided to keep me in the office instead of letting me go out and run some equipment. So, but anyway, it's been a great effort by these people. I would just like to publicly recognize them. And then last but not least, we couldn't do this without our equipment and facilities maintenance, our equipment maintenance folks, our mechanics, Dino Sanchez, Storm Dustin, and Ken Shalene, who have come out all hours of the evening and days to get snow removal equipment back up and running, and just like anything else, taking care of the maintenance on it so it continues to run while we're out there running it all day long. So these guys, everybody's put forward a great effort, and I just wanted to publicly recognize those folks and give them a round of applause, please. The next thing we want to recognize, and I want to apologize to the recipients. We have not received the plaques yet, so we're going to recognize them, and then we'll be delivering them the plaques in person. So, Supervisor of the Year Award. Criteria for that is how well does the supervisor perform job assignments? How does the supervisor relate to his or her employees? How does the supervisor deal with the public and respond to customers? And to what extent is the supervisor willing to help with tasks that may not necessarily be supervisory? So evaluating this and looking, we have a lot of people, they just read, a lot of people do some tremendous work out there. When we were looking at this, one of the things come to me, a gentleman named Simon Sinek, you may have heard of this guy. He has a quote that says, leadership is not about being in charge. Leadership is about taking care of those in your charge. And if you think about that, that's a very powerful statement, and that's true to anybody that's been in a leadership role. One of the things, like I say, anybody can be a leader. It doesn't mean that you're the chief of the department. We're all leaders in the places that we work. Everybody has the potential to be a leader. So we had a theft at the landfill. I think everybody knows about that. And when you have something like that, not only does it cause employee turmoil, there's an investigation and people have to be interviewed. There's a huge public distrust. There's a negative image of the division, the employees, and the city of Rawlins as a whole anytime we have an employee steal public funds. So why that's hard on the outside, and it's hard for you as city council members, it's hard on me as a city manager, it's hard on the public, it's hard on those employees out there at the landfill that have to face the public every day because life goes on. Leading through controversy is not an easy task. Like I said, anybody can be a leader. This person that I'm talking about showed great initiative to gather up the employees and focus on what was in their control, and that's providing a quality service at the landfill to our citizens. And the customer service, the professionalism, and the pride in the work that they have at the landfill never wavered at all during this whole investigation of somebody stealing money from us as a city. This person's worked for the city of Rawlins as a seasonal groundskeeper from 2001 to 2006, and later took the position at our landfill on August 27, 2007, as a municipal service worker 1. Since that time, the person's grown as an individual. They've worked their way through the division and presently serves as our landfill foreperson. And they will be our superintendent out at the landfill. And it's my great pleasure to present the 2019 Supervisor of the Year Award to Patrick Martinez. We surprise you? Yeah. All right.
Thank you for that, Scott.
Thank you.
Now we'll move on down to item C, the 2019 Max Dutton Award.
Thank you, Mayor. The Max Dutton Award criteria is pretty straightforward, and if anybody had the pleasure of knowing Mr. Dutton and what he done for this community, it's the most prestigious award that we give out and recognize employees. The Max Dutton Award criteria is honest and efficient government, being responsive to our citizens, accountability, maximizing one's potential, and making a difference. And I think making the difference is the one that we see is the easiest one to quantify. As I said before, the Max Dutton Award is the highest honor bestowed upon employees by the city of Rawlins. The criteria for this award was set and named after the person that exemplifies these traits, Mr. Max Dutton himself. We are fortunate tonight to recognize another individual that represents the qualities deserving of the Max Dutton Award. When someone mentions this person's name, the first thing that comes to my mind is makes a difference and maximized their potential. This individual has raised the bar for the employees within their division through certification, education, and training. Not only has this person improved their own ability, they've made it a mission to train other employees within the division to make the team stronger. This person has made safety a priority by consistently setting the example, educating others, and reviewing standard operating procedures to make suggestions for positive change in their department. I've had the pleasure to receive compliments from citizens we serve as to the professionalism, caring attitude, and compassion showed by this individual. Being responsive to our citizens and teaching other employees what it takes to provide great customer service has become the new normal in this department, primarily to this person's efforts. This individual has been with the city of Rawlins since June of 2013 and has shown that state certification in this department is attainable, necessary, and provides value added to the realm of customer service. There's no greater honor than being recognized by your peers for the job you perform, as I'd like to share a quote from the nomination of this employee. In our department, we are a team. However, whether it be a simple sewer call or a water main break, this person shows us what it takes to complete the task safely and efficiently, which makes a difference for the betterment of the city. Further quote is, I have learned so much from Ben, and truly believe if anyone deserves this award, it's him. It's my pleasure to present the 2019 Max Dutton Award to Benjamin Gross.
Congratulations.
Thanks again, Ben. Appreciate it. You wonder why your wife drug you here tonight?
Well, she said I better make it.
Well, better in trouble. Wasted speech. Thanks again. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Steve. Mayor, excuse me.
Now we'll move on down to item D, Employee of the Fourth Quarter for 2019.
Honorable Mayor and Council, the City of Rawlins recognizes employees of the quarter, and this would be for the last quarter of 2019. And I'll just read the letter without any further ado. It says, "Dear Angie, congratulations for being selected Employee of the Fourth Quarter 2019. You've been nominated and selected for your commitment, creativity, and thinking outside the box for the Rawlins DBA Main Street program in the City of Rawlins. You have taken the lead on projects and have given 200% to see success. Over the last 3 months, you've gone above and beyond your duties running the DBA Main Street office in the absence of my executive director, in the absence of the executive director, dealing with all daily office tasks without asking for assistance. It is a pleasure to have you on the City of Rawlins team with your innovative and creative items for the new ice rink in the downtown, saving money for your program." So Angie Acevedo. Is that it for me?
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Steve. Mayor.
Now we'll move on down to item E, Proclamation, Wyoming Professional Water and Wastewater Operations Week Proclamation. Do we have somebody that wants to read that, or?
You're not gonna read it?
I've read enough.
I can read too.
You can go.
You can too.
Well, you brought everybody, didn't you?
You did, party.
All right. So, Wyoming Professional Water and Wastewater Operations Week Proclamation, February 3rd through the 9th, 2020. Whereas Wyoming and the City of Rawlins certified drinking water treatment, drinking water distribution, wastewater collection, and wastewater treatment operators are professionals that perform a vital service, and whereas Wyoming and City of Rawlins professional operators protect public health by removing contaminants from our drinking water, delivering safe drinking water to our taps, efficiently delivering wastewater to the treatment facilities, and correctly treating wastewater. And whereas Wyoming and the City of Rawlins professional operators preserve the high quality of Wyoming's lakes, rivers, and streams by ensuring the proper treatment of wastewater. And whereas Wyoming and the City of Rawlins professional operators properly operate and maintain water and wastewater equipment and facilities, ensuring the longevity of one of the state's largest infrastructure investments. And whereas clean, safe drinking water and our pristine natural environment is central to our quality of life and Wyoming and the City of Rawlins' future. And whereas it is fitting to recognize and honor the work of professional operators in protecting the public's health, our environment and water resources, and the water and wastewater infrastructure of Wyoming and the City of Rawlins. And whereas the Honorable Mark Gordon, 33rd Governor of the State of Wyoming, proclaimed February 3rd through the 9th, 2020 as Wyoming Professional Water and Wastewater Operator Week, and now therefore I, Mayor Stephen S. Nicholson, do hereby designate the week of February 3rd through the 9th, 2020 as Wyoming Professional Water and Wastewater Operations Week.
So I brought some people here today too that are certified, just to thank them for everything. This is the first time that Wyoming has had an Operators Week, and I'm really excited. This is also, I think, one of the times we've had more people certified than before. So not everybody could make it, but we have Leroy Lucero, who is a level 1 collection and distribution certifications. Adolph Bernal has level 2 distribution, level 1 water treatment. Bud Dimmick is level 4 wastewater, level 3 water treatment, level 2 distribution and collection. Tyrell Perry, level 2 collection distribution. Ben Rose, level 2 collection distribution. Mike O'Brien is level 1 collection and distribution. Todd Pelham, level 2 collection, level 1 distribution. Danny Rodriguez is level 4 water treatment, level 2 wastewater treatment. Joe Langendorfer is level 2 water treatment, level 1 wastewater. Harley Brown has level 1 water treatment, level 1 collection and distribution. Stevie recently obtained her certification, level 1 water treatment. Robert, level 2 water treatment. In addition to this, we also have 2 other employees that are currently working on their certifications and actually go shortly to take their test. But I just wanted to thank all of these people that get these certifications. I've not taken them, but I've heard they're very difficult, and we appreciate everything that they do.
All right, now we'll move on down to city council reports. The first one we got is the Board of Adjustments, and I have nothing to comment on there. Item B, Todd, I have nothing to add for that. Move on down to item C. Move on down to item C, the DBA Main Street, Councilwoman Smith.
Mayor, it's my privilege to have Pam Thayer come forward and to tell us some fun things that is going to be happening, that are going to be happening.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Happy New Year, Council. I didn't see you at the first one. I was busy in Tucson. Woo, go Pokes. But back now and back hard to work. I just wanted to just share, it's so exciting to come into a new year with plans and goals and dreams and everything, and you hit the ground running when you're back in the office, and you just start getting these emails like, hey, you want to do that? Hey, does Rawlins want to do that? Hey, what do you guys think about hosting this? So it's amazing. So April, we've been asked to host by the State Historical Preservation Office a realtors class, which talks about preservation. It's a accredited class for our realtors. It's going to be statewide. We're going to be hosting that in April. In May, it's Preservation Month. The state, the governor's office, and also the Historic Alliance group of people have asked us to host an event for preservation. A lot of that had to do with the Strand nomination that we had at the end of last year and how we were top 20 out of 185. So we have that in May. Rose doesn't know about this yet, but we have some Strand stuff maybe in May. And then there's some other things that are out of the pipe later in the fall. But it's just because of you guys' commitment to the betterment of Rawlins and the downtown, to the city staff sitting in this room, to everybody working together. The city manager has been amazing on all this. Marla, everybody. The other thing I wanted to say is we just got word today, a couple hours ago, that I was kind of courting 2 different new country bands that are in Nashville right now. If they have dates open for maybe Block Party Summerfest, kicking off Splash Pad, Passion and Pride, and I got word that both of them are available, and if we can work out the numbers, that we could expect both of these ladies and their band coming to Rawlins in July and September. So, a lot of exciting things, but it all is teamwork. I mean, it really is. So I just wanted to say Happy New Year to all of you, and we have all get ready because we're on a train and it's moving fast.
Thank you, Pam.
Thanks.
Now we'll move on down to item D, Rawlins Planning Commission, Councilman Espinoza.
Yes, we approved our December 10th minutes, and we're making amendments on our bylaws, which will be coming up to the council later on, sometime this month or next month.
Okay.
So,
Thanks, Louis.
Yeah.
I'll move on down to Urban Systems, Councilman Sanger.
Nothing new to report.
We'll move on down to the minutes, to approve the minutes of January 7th, 2020, regular meeting. Can you get a motion on that? Councilman Martinez?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the minutes of January 7th, 2020, regular meeting, if there are no corrections.
We have a first and a second. Any questions or comments in regards to that motion? Marla or Sherry, would you open online voting, please?
Motion carries with 6 yeas and Vice Mayor Sanger abstaining.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on down to correspondence, reports, and information. And first up is we have the city manager's report.
Honorable Mayor and Council, first of all, I'd like to issue a public apology for this misstatement that I made at the last meeting. I was confused with as many bid openings as we've been running through. I've had some personal stuff on my mind that I've been dealing with the last 3 months, and I was a little bit off my game, and I had confused the rec center sprinkler alarm system with the bid process for the UP Railroad. I apologize for that. Purely an accident, no malice was intended on that. I'm sorry if that affected your decision to alter the way you voted on the amendment to accept the bid that was 3 minutes late. But I would like to reiterate that I think it shows the integrity of this staff and this organization that we documented that arrived 3 minutes late for consideration by this body. I think it shows that it's a realistic expectation, as much as the roads have been closed and everything else that we've dealt with, to give somebody a 3-minute exception. I felt that it wasn't it begged this council to take a look at it. I mean, could we have rejected it? Yeah, we could have. Staff identified, and if you would look at that, I didn't put staff in that position. If you look at the bid tabulation form on that, I signed that and attested that it was 3 minutes late. Not put staff in that position because I felt that it was the council's prerogative that they could make that decision. And I still think, regardless of the misinformation on my part, I think you made a solid decision in awarding that bid to keep progress going. And I appreciate Attorney Bach's input on that. That's the input that we need to keep out of trouble. I appreciate that very much. That's what we've been asking for, and I appreciate it. I also appreciate us weighing the facts of it, looking at it, and making a logical conclusion that we felt that the risk versus gain on making that decision was an adequate decision to make at the last council meeting. For the rest of my report, I'm going to step aside and allow my time to be given to the council with the auditors. And before I have Rolf Peterson and Ishtar come up here and talk about the audit and answer some of the financial questions that are out there, I just want to say that we hired the auditor to come in. You, as the council, hired the auditor to come in and make sure that basically Dustin and myself are doing our job. And I think after you listen to their presentation, they're here for as long as you want to ask questions and get some satisfaction and some resolution on everything that was discussed and thrown out there. And I appreciate Rolf and Ishtar taking the time to drive all the way back up here to meet with us again and clarify what I thought was crystal clear at the last council meeting, and how it was put out that way that people could misunderstand Callie's reporting. She did a great job on the reporting, and the financial report states the facts as well, so which Rolf and Ishtar will clear up. So I will yield my time to them, council. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott.
Excuse me. Good evening. We had a finding in the audit report which has brought up the questions, and I did send a subsequent letter explaining some of the details on the finding, and I believe that the council has received that letter. Yes. And Ishtar is our manager who worked on the job, and we're here if you have any questions, any concerns. Just to explain the finding briefly, there are some journal entries that got posted incorrectly, and we found them during the audit, and we discussed them with Dustin and Scott, and we corrected the postings. And because of the dollar amounts, it had to become a finding, and we did our finding in the audit report. And there was no funds misappropriated or anything like that. It had nothing to do with any cash transactions. It had to do some journal entries, the way things are getting reported into grants fund, the majority of it. And we discussed that with them. It's been addressed and corrected. And the way the grants fund is working is going to change, which makes the reporting within the funds actually a little more accurate, to where the revenue and expenses are going to be reported inside each one of the individual funds for them receiving the benefit of
Okay.
with grants and so forth. Questions?
Councilman Martinez?
And I guess the last meeting I asked, my question was there any problems or anything that was found in the audit that we needed to know about? We were told there wasn't. Then in listening to the radio 3 times, I kept listening over again. I think she did a real good job. Let the public know that there's not a lot of money missing. I don't have a Cadillac in my garage and all this good stuff. I just wanted to know, is that something that we should have known or somebody should have said to us, that there's a potential of something happening in the way that's being done?
Well, it was part of the report, and it's, like I say, although it's a finding, it had to do with an approval process. I think it arrived when there was a vacancy in the finance manager position, and Dustin was trying to learn the ropes and everything, and one of those steps got missed in some approving some of these journal entries. If Scott would have been able to review them, he may have been able to find them. But we found them during our review, in our audit. Again, and we corrected it on the report. The report's fairly stated and so forth.
And I think everything was fine. I guess my question was, when the people would call me, it was hard to answer their question. They kept saying, well, all this money's missing, what are you doing with it? And I don't think there's any money missing.
No.
So that was the big question that I was getting from the residents when they would call in. And I guess that's why I'm asking. I'll ask you again, there was no problem, there was no money missing, everything's taken care of. Okay.
Councilman Wells?
Is it possible that we open it up to the people who are interested in asking questions?
Yeah, we certainly can. Let's finish the council questions first, and then we can do that. Councilman Smith?
Rob, you know me from other boards that I sit on, and I believe that I've been around audits for over 30 years. And in my past life, I have been responsible for audits for over 8 years that total over $18 million to $32 million. And all those audits came out clean. Now, with that having been said, when I get an audit, the first thing I look for is the comments from the auditors on the bottom line. And if there was a problem, it has been my experience that if there was a problem of any kind that was not just a material problem, you would have notified the people in the city, probably the mayor, that there was indeed some large problem. I.e., if it was embezzlement, you would have been right here and you would have notified people immediately that there was an issue. You wouldn't have waited for us to get an audit that was
Like they were required to.
Yeah, right.
They're required to notify them.
And so, with that having been said, I just wanted to know on the grant side, I think those over the years have been handled differently. I think we used to have just a grants fund that things were posted in and out of. Were the errors incoming funds or expenditures, outgoing funds? Or was it, what was the nature of?
The nature of the way the journal entries were reflected to show, just have to provide some more detail on this, but some of the matching funds, to get those recorded inside the grants fund, because it is more of a journal entry process and something that is.
So it was where we were pulling matching funds out of different accounts to match something that, or a grant that we were doing?
Right.
Okay, you did.
That was my impression, that it had nothing to do with the receipt of funds or the disbursement of funds. It had to do with the recording in the different funds and moving those grant matching around.
Thank you, that's a normal process. Thank you.
Any more questions from council?
So I guess, and I don't know where this question is directed, but I guess traditionally in something like this, you generally get, here's the problem, here's what we did to fix it, here's what we've done to prevent it, and here's our quality control along the way. So I guess is that, like I said, I don't know if this is.
I can answer that.
Like as far, right, I mean, so how do we prevent an overstatement of this or an understatement of that in the future?
So if you'll let me give you a little background on why, how this occurred, and some of the problems that we had seen from our predecessors. And I can point you to our budget document. And if you look at any line item associated in that budget item that had a grant associated with it. So let's just say, let's say police department. And you look at the police department budget, you see the budget, but what you wouldn't see is any grant funds tied with that. So when you look at our budget currently, and presently, it's a little bit misleading a little bit, and it's hard to explain sometimes when we go through our budgetary process that, yeah, we have a UDO grant that pays for overtime for special enforcement. You don't see that in the expenditure or budget side of the police department. That's over here on page 26 or whatever tab that is in the budget that has all the grant funds. So what we were trying to do was improve transparency with these grant funds and take them out of this lump sum fund and disperse them out where it's going to be actually in each division's line item. If there's a grant for the fire department, police department, city hall, public works, whatever, you're going to see that as a sewer grant, a utility grant. Instead of having all these grants combined in this one fund, that was the reasoning behind trying to clear this up. It had nothing to do with talking to Dan Izzo or predecessor or anything like that. We've recognized this issue for years. I recognized this issue with Dan when I was the fire chief. I said, how come my $250,000 SAFER grant isn't reflective in my budget so the council can see that I got $1 million worth of budget, but I also got $250,000 offsetting that through a grant. And that never made sense to me way back when. And so when Dustin came in, he looked at that and said, you know, that's just not quite right. We need to streamline this and make it easier to understand. So that was the thought process of this. Now, did we make a misstep in the journal entries and kind of not be as clear as what we were trying to do? Yes. Thank God that the council hires the auditor firm. And in August, the auditors come in, Ishtar and Dustin and I, we sat down and said, hey, we got a problem with the way you're doing this. I understand what you're trying to accomplish, but this doesn't meet a standard accounting principle. Okay, so what do we need to do to fix that? So we fixed it. And then we come to you in September, and Dustin stood up here and presented a budget amendment. I think it was budget amendment 2. If I'm wrong, Dustin can correct me. Budget amendment 2 was we're going to get rid of the grant fund. And now, moving forward, we're going to start putting this money in the line items as supposed to. Just like other accounting principles, money in, money out. So that's the processes that we've taken to correct this issue. And furthermore, when we go into our budget process here in a few months, you'll see the results of getting rid of that grant fund, and you'll start seeing all these grants appear where that money's really going. If it's a sewer grant, if it's a landfill grant, if it's a water grant, if it's a police grant, you'll see those within their individual budgets, and it makes a much truer or transparent picture of how much money it takes you to operate that division. And that was the intent of that. And that's the steps we've taken to solve this, and working with them on the accounting principles we need to do and how to move that. We got that accomplished, like I said, taken care of in August. The audit report you were presented is a factual finding and true picture, correct, Rawl, of what it is with those adjustments that we fixed, and so we've corrected it. And we took further action again in September to eliminate that grant fund, and like I say, as we move through the budget process, we'll be moving these funds so they are more transparent and you see them, because our budget is kind of complicated when you're flipping through there trying to find out where did this grant money come from, where is it going, and tracking. Plus it puts more eyes on the ground to make sure we're meeting our grant requirements. Is, hey, did we do our reporting for this grant? All of us are seeing that grant in there instead of just having them all piled into this big pot of money that says grants. And so it's probably recognized for years. We corrected it. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
And to clarify too, the way the grant fund is working, it's not incorrect, it's just not as clear where the money's funds departments that are benefiting from the grants, and moving that directly to those funds and departments, and that'll really reflect the income end.
Councilman Singer? So they'll show as a line item grant in each department as it goes to that department?
Right, the grant revenue will show up there.
As a grant, it'll just say
And
grant.
then the expenses related to that will show up there as well.
Is there any questions from the audience out here that they'd like to ask? Gary, please stand up.
I think in the audit, there were several material weaknesses identified in the audit process. It's my understanding, because I have some experience with that too, that material weakness is probably the worst thing that you just don't want them in your audits. I think my impression of a material weakness is the fact that some things are just not accountable, and so therefore, to know if it's right or wrong, can you explain that to us?
Well, there was one material weakness, and the step that was missing in the process is the approval process. And what we did is after we found those problems, we expanded a little bit of testing, expanded testing of the journal entries, and we tested the rest of the entries and found no other mistakes. And that step that was missing, the approval, has now been added as part of the changes in the procedures.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the audience? Kelly?
Did the changes with the grant fund and the moving around that way, did that have an effect on the other funds that also have misstatements?
No, the entries happened all.
Because there were several other accounts, there were 6 accounts, not just the grants. Is that correct?
I believe that there was the one entry was for transfer of,
Insurance reserve?
there we go.
The insurance reserve.
Can you talk a little bit about that and what that was?
It was a transfer of, the funds were in one account, and it was simply a matter of whether it was showing as cash in the general fund or into the special reserve, the insurance reserve, insurance fund. And so it was a matter of moving that journal entry through a transfer, and it was hit through an expense account in that transfer instead of a transfer account, which is just can be kind of confusing if you're not familiar with the string of account numbers.
Right. And so that had nothing to do with the grant fund. That was totally
correct. That was the separate journal entry.
Okay.
Majority of the problem, largest amount was.
Gotcha.
Any other questions from out there? All right.
So, what specifically is going to be done so these mistakes don't happen again?
All the journal entries are going to be reviewed, signed off, and approved. And so then after they're posted on True Stop, we'll look and see what the net effect of the posting was.
And then, when do you only audit yearly?
Annual required, annual audit.
Okay, thank you. Thank you guys for coming tonight. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Move on down to department monthly reports. Anybody have any questions or comments in regards to those? Okay. Now we'll move on down to approve tonight's agenda. Councilwoman Smith?
So moved.
Second?
We have a first and a second. Any questions in regards to that? Sherry, would you open online voting, please?
Motion carries with 7 yeas.
Thank you. We'll move on down to board appointments. First one we have is the Rochelle Ranch Golf Course Advisory Board. We have one application here, Philip Canaday. Is he here tonight?
I didn't see Phil.
Okay.
Dad, you here?
Dad may not be, maybe he, Matt Adams say he might not want to speak for him.
I think, yeah, it was just was it a reappointment? He's
Yeah,
currently
it was a
on that.
reappointment, so. Yeah, if we get a motion on that. Councilman Wells?
I motion move to appoint Philip Candidate to the Rochelle Ranch Golf Course Advisory Board for the term ending December 31st, 2022.
Okay.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any questions or comments in regards to that? Sherry, would you open online voting, please?
Online voting is closed and the motion carries with 7 yeas.
Okay. Move on down to item B, Rochelle Ranch Golf Course Advisory Board. Another application of Stephen Scortis. Get a motion? Councilman Martinez?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we appoint Stephen Scortis to the Rochelle Ranch Golf Course Advisory Board.
Councilman Wells? Okay, we have a first and a second. I see you're out there, Stephen. Do you want to come up and say anything, or?
No, I will if you want me to. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Do a good job.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Sherry, would you open online voting, please?
Online voting is closed and the motion carries with 7 yeas.
Thank you. Now we have the Rawlins Carbon County Airport Board. The first applicant we have here is Dean Parker. Get a motion? Councilman Wells?
I move to appoint Dean Parker to the Rawlins Carbon County Airport Board for the term ending January 31st, 2020.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Any questions or comments in regards to that motion?
Is he here tonight?
No, he is not here tonight.
I've never met him.
Okay. Any other questions?
Can I just speak one thing real quick?
Yeah.
He is a pilot. That's I'll just leave it at that. He is an actual pilot.
Is he currently on the board?
No.
Okay, so he'd be new.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Sherry, would you open online voting, please?
I'm sorry. Just real quick, do I need to abstain from this vote?
Do you know him personally? Would that affect you?
Well, because I'm on the airport board. Yeah, okay. I figured. I just want to make sure.
Okay. Sherry, would you open online voting, please?
Online voting is closed and the motion carries with 6 yeas and Councilmember Durst abstaining.
Okay. Now we'll move on down to item D, another applicant for the Carbon County Airport Board. Councilman Martinez?
Make a motion that we approve Aaron Durst to the Rawlins Carbon County Airport Board for the term ending January 31st, 2025.
Councilman Sanger?
I'll second.
Anybody have any questions or comments in regards to that?
I did have one.
Okay.
I was confused because Aaron serves on the Carbon County Airport Board. His term ends. And that's why it comes back to us and we reappoint. I didn't understand that. I was wondering why is we appointing him on the airport board when he's already sitting on it? That leaves a board of 4. Is the next appointment city appointment or is that a county appointment?
I would have to look at the board list, because
It's kind of messy right now.
you're currently a county, are you currently a county appointment position?
Correct, but it expires.
And then it switches to us. I'm not sure on the last one, Devari, we can research that and find out.
I was just curious. I don't want to be on
what the
that.
fifth position is. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Well, from city to county?
Yes, I'm not sure what the, if it's ours or the county's on the other one.
Okay. Pardon me?
They're 5-year terms.
Okay. All right, thank you. Sherry, would you open online voting, please?
Online voting is closed and the motion carries with 6 yeas and Councilmember Durst abstaining.
Okay. Now we'll move on down to new business. Item A, approval of payroll. Councilman Sanger?
I move to approve December 22nd, 2019 through January 4th, 2020 payroll register for $230,914.63.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any questions in regards to that motion that was made? If not, Sherry, would you open on online voting, please?
Online voting is closed and the motion carries with 7 yeas.
Thank you, Sherry. We'll move on down to the approval of the accounts payable. We can get a motion. Councilman Sanger?
I move to approve the accounts payable register for the period of January 3rd, 2020 to January 16th, 2020 in the amount of $185,108.28.
Okay. We have a first and a second. Any questions or comments in regards to that motion? Sherry, would you open online voting, please?
Online voting is closed and the motion carries with 7 yeas.
All right, thank you, Sherry. I'll move on down to a bid award, the fire department, a dually pickup truck. Can you get a motion on that? Councilman Sanger?
I move to award the fire department pickup truck bid to Fremont Motors of Casper and approve the purchase of a 2020 dual-wheel Ram 5500 pickup truck in the amount of $60,972.
Okay. I have a first and a second. Okay. John, you want to fill us in?
Honorable Mayor, Council, Fire Department currently has a 1999 F-350 pickup. It has just a little over 101,000 miles on it. That pickup serves for transportation on a daily basis, to calls and to run errands. It also is our snow plow for both stations and our training ground. The pickup is set up with a gooseneck style hitch that is used to pull our hazardous materials trailer, which is also our command trailer because we combined them. So the trailer, it was really good when it was empty. When we got all of our equipment in it, then it changed things. So we looked at what our needs would be, and now that they manufacture a short wheelbase dually pickup, that will serve our needs. They're also available with snowplow prep packages, so it'll come set up for a snowplow, and according to the dealership that I spoke with, that's an issue if there's a failure in the front end. And it's warranty work. If they know that you put a snowplow on it and you haven't specified that prep package on it, it can void some of the warranty work. So actually the lowest bid that came in, we don't want to get a Ford, and I know that there's been some blowback because we're shying away from the Ford products, but the truth is the truth. We don't have a Ford dealership here. Our last brush truck went to Casper several times, and it went through 3 turbochargers within 5,000 miles. So that's really difficult for us. I was told that for the warranty process, they will, under the warranty, they will tow it to a dealership for repairs for warranty work. However, for us, that wasn't the case. We have to get the vehicle up there, and then we have to get the guys back home while the work is being done. So it's awkward for us. And then recall work is the same way. If there's product recalls, it's the same way. The next lowest bid came in, and it did not have that plow preparation package on it. So that's where we came up with the one that we recommended. We budgeted $70,000, so we're well within our budget, and that will pay for our additional emergency vehicle radio striping lights. So we're right where we should be.
Okay. Thank you, John. Councilman Smith?
Yes, John, I don't know what's in the bid speculations that were issued. Did it say you didn't want a Ford product?
No.
I guess my question is going to be to legal then. If we didn't put that in the bid speculations and we don't take the lowest bid, here again, I feel like we're kind of vulnerable.
So you have a couple of things presented to you. The first is typically the city of Rawlins, or in the competitive bid process, you do award to the lowest responsive bid. If you have a set of specific items in your scope of work or your services, and there's a failure or a deviation, that provides you with that notice that there's a non-compliance in there somewhere. So the city can award a bid that's in its best interest. So in this instance, if we did spec out a snow plow attachment or package, and it wasn't included in their bid, or it was shown as a deviation, the council does have discretion to say we are not going to award to that lowest bid because it's a deviation from what we spec'd out. In regards to the Ford, that's going to be an issue for the council to weigh through. In this instance, I'm not as aware of the situation.
Honorable Mayor, Councilwoman Smith, the Ford plow prep package is not available. So I don't know exactly what the difference is. My guess is probably springs and a larger alternator, but I'm not sure.
Mayor,
Yes.
Chief, then what you're saying to me, then, in good faith, that the lowest bid does not meet the specifications that you needed to have.
No, ma'am, it does not.
So it's based on the speculation, the specs that you put out, so that's why you are not taking the lowest bid. Okay, and it's not just because it's a Ford, but it's because it doesn't have what you need to have in your automobile.
No, ma'am, and we truly, well, our last, like I said, as I previously mentioned, our last brush truck, which we still have, and it is in service, we had so many problems with it that we actually had to take it to Laramie to have it repaired the last time, and it was not warranted for that repair, and that was the third turbocharger that we went through. We have had nothing but problems with it, and the repairs are very expensive because of how Ford makes their technicians do the repairs. So not only the plow package wasn't available, we literally have just had horrible luck with the Fords. And I've been a Ford guy all my life. I've owned nothing but Fords. But when you get into the bigger apparatus, the bigger chassis, it's a whole different ball of wax.
Any more questions for John? Sherry, would you open online voting, please?
Online voting is closed, and motion carries with 7 yeas.
All right, thank you, Sherry. Now we'll move on down to item D, a bid award of a code enforcement pickup truck. Can we get a motion on that one? Councilman Smith?
I move to award the code enforcement pickup truck bid to Fremont Motors of Casper and approve the purchase of a 2020 Ram 1500 pickup truck in the amount of $30,141.
We get a second? Second. We have a first and a second. Fill us in on this one, John.
The current code enforcement vehicle is a 17-year-old pickup. It has had a history of starting issues in cold weather. That was clear back when the city manager was driving it. It's been to Chevrolet several times to be diagnosed. They never could duplicate the problem, but every time it got cold, it just wouldn't start. It has 122,685 miles on it, and it's tired. Most of those miles have been around town, which is pretty tough on a vehicle. Bids were solicited and received as per the city purchasing policies. Proposals came in from 2 Wyoming companies with no local proposals being received. Bids came in as followed, and I had listed those. Fremont Motors for 2020 Ram 1500 Classic came in at $27,032. Fremont Motors of Casper was the next bid at $30,141, and that was for a 2020 Ram 1500. Based on these bids, which they were all very competitive, one was excluded, and that was for the cheapest bid, the 2020 Ram 1500 Classic. So we spec this with bucket seats with a console. For our use, we need that console. That's where our radio equipment is mounted. That's where all of our forms and tools are kept that we use on a daily basis. So it did not come in as specified. There is a difference, and it is what it is. I wish the companies wouldn't submit the proposals that don't meet the bid spec, because what we're asking for bids on exactly what we want to put to work. So that's my recommendation.
Okay.
So I assume that came back from a bench seat probably, is that?
It did.
Any other questions for John? Sherry, would you open online voting, please?
Online voting is closed, and the motion carries with 7 yeas.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Now we'll move on down to item E, a resolution authorizing changes to the amended agreement of the Carbon County Joint Powers Board, one page and page 17. Page 1 and page 17.
Well, that's a stubborn pen.
Tim does not like to be the center of attention at that. Yes. Councilman Smith?
I move to approve the resolution amending the Carbon County Specific Purpose Tax Joint Powers Board Agreement, correcting page 1, paragraph 1, citing Wyoming State Statute 16-1-102, and updating the Attorney General's approval page from 2019 to 2020, approving the resolution in its entirety, not limited to the first and last page.
Can we get a second?
Second.
We got a first and a second. Marla?
Honorable Mayor and council members, I received an email from Barbara Bonds, legal attorney for the Carbon County Six Penny Special Purpose Joint Powers Board, stating that she had some issues that she needed to have corrected with agreement that was approved by council in September of 2019. 10 municipalities and the government of Carbon County were all approved that resolution to become a member of the Specific Purpose Tax Joint Powers Board. And there was an error in it. Barbara Bonds is correcting the state statute 16-1-102. That's the correct one. She cited 16-1-101. And she has presented this resolution with corrections 2 times to the AG's office. She had taken a page out with the correction, replaced it with the correction in the AG's office, wanted all the members of the Joint Powers Board to ratify that and acknowledge that that's okay with you. So what she's asking you as council members to do is to approve this amended resolution with this correction and the signature page to reflect 2020 the year instead of 2019. I'll try to answer any other questions you may have. It's quite confusing, I get it.
Any questions from the council?
I mean, I see, it looks like you guys have already been made aware of this. There's no big deal. It's just, I mean, this is just an update. They're gonna, clerical correction, right?
An administrative correction.
One changing the state statute from the 101 to the 102.
Okay.
Sure, okay.
So, and then once the AG's office signs off on these corrections and lets Barbara Bonds know about it, Barbara will then notify the chairperson of the board, which is Irene Archibald, and she'll call a meeting. So there hasn't been a meeting held yet due to this hiccup.
There's no more questions. I'll have Sherry open online voting. Oh, Councilman Smith.
so? We're not collecting money yet on that tax yet because we don't have that committee in place, is that correct?
Well, they know the numbers, but I don't think they have received the money yet. They know the 2 different months that they've collected.
Oh, okay.
So they've collected, but they haven't distributed it to
I see, okay,
to
gotcha.
the entities yet because of this technicality.
Because it did go into effect October 31st.
October
First
1st.
October 1st.
is
Started
when it
collecting,
started
they
We're
haven't
collecting.
released
collecting but
funds
not
yet.
distributing, thank you.
Okay. Jerry, would you open online voting, please?
It's a naughty pen.
I need to get that fixed for you.
I don't know what it is, but it's making my fingernails.
Change something.
I tried his thingy, but, our pen,
Well, it's got a,
rubber thing on it. I'll try it, but
Go,
maybe.
Sherry.
Online voting is closed and the motion carries with 7 yeas.
All right, thank you, Sherry. Now we'll move on to item 10, executive session. Councilwoman Smith?
Mayor, I move that we go into executive session at 8:42 PM pursuant to Wyoming Statute 16-4-4052 to consider the appointment, employment, right to practice, or dismissal of a public officer, professional person or employee, or to hear complaints or charges brought against an employee, professional person, or officer, unless the employee, professional person, or officer requests a public hearing. The governing body may exclude from any public or private hearing during the examination of a witness any or all other witnesses in the matter being investigated. Following the hearing or executive session, the governing body may deliberate on its decision in executive session. 9, to consider or receive any information classified as confidential by law. And 10, to consider accepting or tendering offers concerning wages, salaries, benefits, and terms of employment during all negotiation.
We have a first and a second. Any questions in regards to that motion? Sherry, would you open online voting, please?
Online voting is closed and the motion carries with 7 yeas.
All right, thank you, Sherry. Executive